going to talk about getting our dogs ready for when we start to reemerge back into the world, and just to start working on some of these things that we can be proactive about right now so that they don't freak out and so that we don't have to deal with behavioral issues where we may not have had any or where we may have seen big improvements before. Let me tell you where this whole thing came from. I was shopping at my favorite little local pet food store the other day, and I hadn't been in for a few weeks. The last time I was there was before the mandate that we have here to wear masks when we're out in public. So I drove over there, put my mask on, went inside, and the cashier, who I know pretty well and have known for many years, just kind of said, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And she was helping somebody else. When she finished with that gentleman, she looked up, and I could see in her eyes, which was the only part of her face I could see, that she had recognized me. And she said, "Oh, my goodness, I didn't recognize you. I've been not recognizing our regular customers all week." And we laughed about it. It was great. I went home, and then I thought, oh my goodness, here we are with our masks on. So the reason that this is going to be an issue for our dogs is because of the way, number one, they perceive the world, and because of the way their brains work to perceive and assess threats. And because we don't all have the good fortune to be starting out with puppies that we can socialize from the very beginning to the way people look nowadays. So if you've ever been out with your dog and somebody has walked by with a really strange hat or with a motorcycle helmet on or a big bulky coat, you may have seen this effect happen already, where that person is they look familiar, they're not familiar. As people, when we perceive the world and we're making sort of that does it click as something we recognize decision, we're mostly visual. For dogs, they use their vision as sort of the first line of recognition, first line of assessment, and then they tend to confirm with their noses. So obviously we're not going to confirm with our noses, but you may have seen this if you ever walk into your house late at night, your dog may bark at first, and then when they smell you and recognize you, everything's cool. So if you think about the dog that has been his whole world, his whole life, they have a basic idea of what the silhouette of a person looks like at a distance and even a little bit closer up, and they can categorize that as person, probably okay, assuming that the dog is not highly reactive to people, but that's a rehab issue. When we change that silhouette, that split-second burst visual picture for them, then it causes them to kind of stop a little bit and have a hitch and have to figure it out. And then they've got this picture in their head that is not congruent with what they're smelling. So they may not have caught the smell yet, or they may just be seeing person that's not a person because half of the face is gone, right? Major markers on our face, our nose, our mouth. And so for dogs, that can be an issue. If we're working with a very young puppy, they don't have that click to fight or flight when things are weird. And I'm talking under 12, 13 weeks or so. They're still in acceptance mode where they're building up an idea of what is normal in their world and what's not. And ideally, when we have a puppy that young, we can expose them to all the things that we think are going to be a part of their lives as they grow up, and they accept those things without much of a problem. When we move out of that phase, and this is for my adolescent dog people, so I hope some of you are here. When we move out of that puppy phase, they're still impressionable. It still is something that we can work through fairly quickly, and but you're going to see a little bit more of a reaction in defensive drive, or more commonly known as fight or flight, where they see something new, it's unexpected, their brain can't immediately categorize it, and they respond to it. So that's for those adolescent dogs. They're still normally pretty easy to get over these humps. If we have an older dog, it's going to take more repetitions. They're going to have to see the new thing a bunch of times before it goes into their brain as one of those things that they can quickly check off as, check normal. So that's why we need to start right now with some of these visually different things that they're going to be exposed to, and start working on it in a way that is not threatening in any way, that's not going to cause them issues, in a way that they can process. In situations that we can control, we want to start giving them small doses. It's almost like inoculating them to some of these new things that they're going to see. And today specifically, we're talking about people wearing masks, because like it or not, I think that's going to be part of our world increasingly commonly. So one small thing you can do to help your dog afterwards now is start putting that mask on in front of your dog, taking it off, putting it on, taking it off. You don't have to be interacting with them. And as a matter of fact, I would recommend you're not interacting with them while you're doing this. Just let them see you put it on. I know it's not the most comfortable thing in the world probably, but wear it around your house for a little while and take it off. And then put it on and wear it around and then take it off. If you have different masks, different fabrics, if you have... Some people I've seen online now are creating these incredibly funny and creative and interesting novelty masks, that, you know, they're intended to look like an animal face or a person face that's making a strange face. Those things for your dog are going to be, again, might trigger that defensive drive in them. So wear those things around the house. Do what you can to be as weird as you can in a situation where your dog is relaxed and comfortable, because that then gets them to be comfortable with that. We want to, in the house, like I said, you don't necessarily want to be interacting with them. You can maybe do some of the things you ordinarily do with them with this mask on. Give them their food. You know, take them out to go for a walk or something, but you don't need to try to call them to you or force them to you. If they're not comfortable, give them space. So, you know, if you walk into your kitchen and your dog kind of goes, whoa, just stop. Let them smell you, let them figure out. And again, because it's you, it's not going to take them very long. And then sit in a chair and just kind of hang out. So it's not the kind of thing that you can force. You can't force them to accept something ever. If you've worked with me, you know that I say this all the time. You can't force acceptance, but you can provide space for your dog to get there on their own. So specifically for my friends that have dogs that tend to be fearful or anxious, it's going to take them longer. They're going to need more of this work, and I encourage you to do as much of it as you possibly can before you get out into the big wide world, because they need more of it. Especially these dogs that we label reactive, quick to respond to things that pop up. Their brains are cycling faster than the laid back chill dog. And so they're going to jump to conclusions, whether they are predisposed to jump to a defensive drive conclusion or some other conclusion, faster. And so they need more of this work as well. If you have an adolescent dog, you still have some time to get this in here relatively easily and quickly. So please, you know, go ahead and do more of this if you have an adolescent. If you've got a dog that has had aggression issues in the past, tread carefully, because they may not recognize you and they may jump to something quickly. So give them space, give yourself space, do it slowly, and be thoughtful about it. So, where are we? My comments. I see some of you. Excellent. Hey, Lisa. So this will be up in the Facebook group. Feel free to, you know, pass it on if you've got friends that you know need to see it. Spread the word, and we'll be back with another Preparing Your Dog for Aftertimes next Saturday morning. Take care, everybody.